It started in a room full of joy that didn't belong to him. A chandelier sparkled overhead like a crown of glass and gold. Laughter rippled from every corner of the grand ballroom. Bridesmaids twirled in pastel gowns. Champagne glasses clinked. Photographers clicked away, capturing perfect moments in people's perfect lives. And at the farthest table in the room, almost hidden behind a potted palm, sat a man in a wrinkled gray suit, holding a little girl who had fallen asleep on his lap. His name was Jason Miller, and he wasn't really supposed to be there. He hadn't come for the food, or the dancing, or the family reunion. He'd come for the smile on his daughter's face. And even if he felt like a ghost at someone else's celebration, that small, tired smile was everything. Jason was 35 and already looked like he'd lived 2 lifetimes. His shoulders slouched like they were carrying invisible bricks. His face had that half-shaved, too many nights up late look. But his eyes, quiet, thoughtful, wounded, were the kind you remembered. Across the ballroom, Lauren Blake, the maid of honor, noticed him almost instantly. She wasn't looking for him. She was fixing veils, wrangling flower girls, and pretending she was okay. She'd worn a perfect smile all evening, the kind you learn to keep on your face when grief has cracked you from the inside. Lauren had loved once, deeply. 2 years ago, she was engaged to a man named Caleb. They were set to be married in this very ballroom. But a rainy highway, a distracted driver, and a single phone call had stolen everything. She almost didn't attend this wedding. But the bride was her oldest friend. She couldn't say no. So she smiled. She posed for photos. She toasted with champagne she didn't really taste. Until her eyes landed on the man in the wrinkled suit. He looked like someone who didn't belong, but wasn't trying to hide it. She watched as he gently wiped frosting off his little girl's nose, whispered something to her, and made her giggle before she dozed off against his chest. It was such a small moment. But something in it, something raw and real, pulled at her chest in a way she didn't expect. Jason hadn't danced since Rachel died. His wife had been the music in his life. The bright one. The dancer. She used to pull him onto their kitchen floor when Lily was just a baby, spinning barefoot between dinner and dishes. He was clumsy, always stepping on her feet. She used to laugh and say, "You're not bad at dancing. You're just afraid to enjoy anything." Cancer took her in less than a year. Since then, life had become a checklist. Feed Lily, find work, pay the bills, survive. So when his cousin invited him to the wedding, more out of obligation than affection, he almost declined. But Lily had begged him, "Daddy, please? I've never seen a real bride before." So he'd borrowed a suit from a neighbor, counted train fare with quarters, and taken her across the city to this beautiful place filled with laughter he couldn't feel part of. He planned to leave after cake. But fate had a different plan. Just after the first dance, as the DJ played a slow Sinatra tune, Lauren stepped away from the bridal party and crossed the ballroom floor. She could feel her heart pounding beneath her dress, unsure why she was doing this, but knowing she had to. Jason looked up as she approached, confused and halfway rising from his seat. "Hi," she said gently. "Would you like to dance?" He blinked. I'm just here with my daughter." "I know," she said. "That's why I'm asking you." He looked down at Lily, sleeping peacefully. He looked back at Lauren. And for the first time in years, something inside him didn't say no. They danced in silence. Jason moved like a man remembering how to walk again. His hands unsure, his shoulders stiff. But Lauren didn't rush him. She guided him, gently, her fingers warm and patient. She didn't make small talk. She didn't ask what had broken him. She just stayed beside him, one quiet step at a time. Around them, people whispered, "Who is that guy? Isn't she the maid of honor? Why is she dancing with him?" Jason heard it all. But it felt distant, like noise underwater. Because in that moment, for the first time in what felt like forever, he wasn't surviving. He was simply living. When the song ended, she didn't let go. "Come outside with me?" she asked. He nodded. They slipped out through the side doors onto the hotel's rooftop garden. It was quiet there, just wind, stars, and string lights overhead. They sat on a bench near the railing, overlooking the city. After a long silence, Lauren spoke first. "I was supposed to be married here," she said. 2 years ago. Same ballroom. Same DJ. Everything." Jason turned to her. "My fiancé died in a car accident a month before the wedding." He swallowed hard. "I'm sorry." She shrugged, blinking fast. "It took me 2 years to come back to this place." Jason looked out over the lights. "I lost my wife to cancer. 3 years ago." Lauren glanced down. "She must have been amazing." "She was," he said softly. "She made me laugh even on the worst days. She loved dancing. I was terrible at it." Lauren smiled. "You did okay tonight." They sat for what felt like hours, talking about everything and nothing. About grief. About hope. About the strange way the world keeps spinning, even when you want it to stop. She told him about her panic attacks. The nights she screamed into pillows. The way she still wore her engagement ring on a chain around her neck. He told her about Lily. About the nights she cried for her mom in her sleep. About the birthday party he couldn't afford. About the jobs he'd lost just for missing too many days when Lily was sick. And somehow, in that space, nothing felt shameful. Nothing felt too broken. Because they weren't fixing each other. They were just seeing each other. Weeks turned into months. Texts became phone calls. Phone calls became coffee dates. Coffee dates turned into Saturday morning pancakes, with Lily wearing her superhero pajamas. Lauren brought books and laughter into their tiny apartment. Jason introduced her to the joy of messy living and imperfect healing. Lily began calling her Lo. Jason didn't rush anything. Lauren didn't expect him to. They were careful, gentle, real. 1 year later, in a quiet garden behind a small chapel, Jason stood under a canopy of twinkling lights. Lily, now 7, tossed flower petals with joyful abandon, her curls bouncing as she grinned from ear to ear. Lauren walked down the aisle in a lavender dress, sunlight catching in her hair. Jason's eyes filled with tears. When she reached him, he whispered, "You saved me that night." She smiled, her voice catching. "No. You just finally let someone hold your hand." And as they kissed, Lily clapped louder than anyone. Later, at the tiny reception, Lily tugged on her dad's sleeve and whispered, "I told you she was magic." Sometimes love doesn't come the way you expect it. Not with fireworks or grand declarations. Sometimes it comes with a whisper on a dance floor, a warm hand reaching for yours, and the courage to take just one more step. Because healing doesn't begin with forgetting the pain. It begins with someone saying, "Dance with me."